destroy the nonchalance, taking culture apart one episode at a time. A social commentary podcast on pop culture, fashion, film, and music. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Destroy Nonchalance. This episode we have Serena back, and we're going to be talking a bit about the presentation that you gave today at CSM, Fashion Critical Studies. And we also went to the Madonna concert, Madame X, so we can talk a bit about that. And we're going to try to be really mindful about timing because we have like 30 to 45 minutes, yeah? Okay, so let's catch up on what we've been doing. What shows have we been watching?
Okay, I mean, I've been watching quite a few shows. I've been watching You on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, we started that. Okay.
Yeah. I've also been watching Star Trek's Picard.
Oh, how far into that are you?
I'm right up to date.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it's really good. Do you watch that?
Not yet. How many episodes have there been?
4.
Oh, so it wouldn't take that long to catch up with you.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to have to watch it because yesterday I tried watching, just starting from the beginning, and oh my god, they're so bad.
That's what I mean. It's so dated.
It's so dated, and it's just... and I'm just, no.
No, go for it. Go for the new one. Do you like, sci-fi?
Well, I liked the last Star Trek we were watching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Discovery
was really good.
It's just like that.
Okay. Yeah, that whole new take on sci-fi television, whatever, is good.
I think you'll like
it. It seems a better take, and I mean, I wanted to watch Whoopi in the old one, but I don't know how long I have to wait, and I don't know that I can...
you just search for IMDb?
No, I know. I guess I can start from when they introduce her character, because it's just so cheesy, and the storylines, and it's very dated, so it's really hard to get into it, where the characters are talking in Shakespeare. What am I watching?
Do they really?
They do all sorts in that series. I couldn't get into it at all. I was unsure about Picard because I've never liked The Next Generation.
Right.
I was always into Deep Space Nine. That was my thing because it had like a story arc. But The Next Generation was so cheesy. Like it would start, something would happen to someone on the crew, and then they try and sort it out. But now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that guy that was in the Big Bang Theory, the Sheldon.
Which one?
The Sheldon talks to him. He's the celebrity Stryker or whatever his name is. He was the kid in the show, so he was in the episodes I just saw.
Yeah. So you're actually seeing...
Mortal enemy.
Yeah, and his mom was the doctor, and he was like all sciencey, and I was just like
the kid,
making things float. So this last episode I watched, the whole crew got drunk because they contracted a virus from... It killed the whole other spaceship, and so the little kid is like, he contracted it, so he's all getting...
Oh, really good.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh my god, this show. I don't know. I think I need to start with Picard.
Yeah.
So is Deep Space Nine like Discovery and Picard? Or?
Well, I mean, that is dated, but the reason I like Deep Space Nine, it's more modern than The Next Generation, but it's got this story arc, and it's about war.
Oh, okay.
And how... And it's not a ship that's floating, it's actually a space station, and how they live on the space station. And people have different ideas about each of the characters, like the Kardashians, as in C, not the one Kardashian, I mean Kardashians.
Right.
And they're like a cold kind of feeling aliens that hate the Bajorans. And then some people say the Bajorans are Jews, and you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
It's so interesting. And it's amazing, and the power rated of these gods that go around the ship and they take over, and it's a story arc. So throughout the whole of the seasons, you see how the war and the fight against the war and who owns the space station, and I really liked it. That's what got me into Star Trek. I didn't really like it before then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so watching Picard, I was kind of blown away, actually.
Really? Are you liking it more than Discovery? Or is it not really fair to make a comparison?
Yeah, no,
Discovery is so good.
It's so good.
It is.
Right.
It's so... I mean, Picard's coming up. There is a little bit of cheese creeping in the 4th episode.
Oh.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
like
you have to feed the fandoms.
It does.
But the thing is I'm giving it a chance,
right?
You know, because Discovery just was amazing.
Yeah, Discovery was really good.
It was so good on so many different levels.
When does it come back?
I don't know.
Yeah, you were saying
soon.
that they're making the episodes now.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm excited.
Okay.
So am I.
And you were mentioning Judy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, guys, I really want to talk
the movie
about
Judy, about Judy Garland.
Oh my gosh, that film, like, I knew it was going to be, like, you know, pretty tough to watch because we know Judy and the story and everything.
And Renée was just amazing in it.
And then to actually see it and what Judy potentially went through.
Right.
Was really quite sad and horrific. I mean, Renée played her so well. She was her, basically. Like, you were, like, looking at her, seeing her. Even though they don't even look alike.
They don't they don't look like twins. Or it's not identical
like
or anything.
But there was an essence.
You forgot that it was
exactly.
Renée.
Yeah. There was an essence that Renée had.
She did it so well.
I couldn't even picture what Renée normally looks like while I was watching Judy. Like, I couldn't even picture the actress outside of the role that she had just become Judy to that extent.
The transformation is amazing. And, you know, she was talking about, like, how she got into the part and that they put quite a bit of makeup on. And one of the interviews said, "Did you do anything else to change your face?" And she goes, "I don't want to say, just watch and see." And I think they did something to the nose or the eyes, I'm not sure. But then she said, towards the end, of, you know, and it's pretty grueling, the filming schedule, she goes, the director would like, "Right, you ready? Get back on stage." And she'd be like, "Oh no, I haven't had the makeup done."
Right.
And the director was like, "Oh, no, you're fine, go as you are." So obviously, she was saying that she looked so tired and haggard.
Oh my god.
From the workload that she didn't need the amount of makeup.
Yeah. Wow.
Because she would like look totally wrecked.
Good. You look right.
Yeah, I mean, it was a brilliant film. I have to say though, I do think, and even like, oh gosh, when you go back to the young Judy, and see her,
just the way she was used. In every time of her life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really terrible.
It was. And it was so interesting to show that big, beefy guy and the way he was like hovering over her, the way it was filmed, the way he looked, the voice. I mean, they did really well with that. It was quite, you know, creepy. It was really creepy to see that.
That version of herself that he was trying to get her to buy into, that just removed her from like any sense of normalcy. It's kind of like the Truman Show or something. It's just like this alternate reality that she had to live in.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, it's so sad. And then, a child sleeping, and then you put pills next to her bed to pick up. Should we say there's lots of spoilers in this as well, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, at this point,
the story is
too bad. If you didn't watch it by now, she already won the Oscar. Come on, people.
Yes, true.
Yeah,
they put the pills by the side to wake up, pills to go
for
to sleep.
eating, for anything. Oh,
it's awful.
And all of that affected her whole life and led to her demise. And it's just really terrible. And whenever there was those scenes with Liza, and I was just
God,
Liza, get to work. Your mom is like trying to keep the kids.
There seemed to be such a disconnect. Like, not a mother. Like, the movie didn't present much of a mother-daughter relationship between them. Like, at all.
It was really focusing on Judy, but I was just like, I mean, I know Liza has her problems.
She does, yeah.
And just growing up in that household, I'm sure, but it's like she disconnected herself and went. And I know it's a movie and it's dramatized, and I don't know exactly how anything happened, but just the way the film portrayed it, I was just like, go help your mom. It's like, she was just trying to keep the family together, and everybody around her was taking advantage of her, maybe family.
It's true, but, you know, as a child, you just want your mum to be there, and sometimes you can have that kind of, what you could see is that there was definitely a disconnect, and if she'd never been close, then, you know, you can see why Liza almost had to cut her out
in the phone booth.
Order to survive. Oh, that phone booth. Oh my gosh, don't you gonna look at and it was really emotional watching that film. Really emotional. when she was like wanting to look after the kids, and then she had to go and see her ex-husband and like not at his house at 1:00 in the morning. Oh my gosh.
They wouldn't let her into the hotel.
Yeah, and they wouldn't let her in the hotel. I mean, what kind of a life was it? And then the film was really good. I do think there could have been a bit of ray of hope though, looking at her when she was a child. Now, it was really good with the creepy guy and that whole kind of alternate kind of like what you were saying, which I think is true. But I do think the child, Judy, looked frightened all the time.
Yeah.
And I think, in reality, it might have been more done out to make her be a little bit more, like...
Have a range of responses, and there wasn't always...
optimistic, or like what a child does. That's what you're a child. You're like, it's okay, even though they're abusing me, it's fine.
But because it's what they know.
Yeah,
and
that's
what happened
so you kind
when she jumped into the pool.
So I missed that into it.
She tried to rebel.
Yeah, she did.
She jumped into the pool.
Yeah, when she had her birthday.
They got her for it. Or when she bit into the burger, they got her for it.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was stopped in its tracks every time.
She tried to be herself, yeah. But I would have liked to have seen happy... and then saw that torn away. That's just my slight criticism. Apart from that, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it.
Oh, yeah, it has actually. I only saw it 2 weeks ago.
But, I mean, to understand it more from, like, a child's point of view, like, that's the world that they know. So they're going to experience some happiness. They're going to experience a range of emotion. And
so, I mean, essentially,
it might be distorted.
Do a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough time in the movie to explore everything.
I know what you're saying, but just like when he was like over it and she was constant, it seemed like she was always like that, like in fear.
Right.
I don't know, like for the storyline, it would have been just a little bit, just because you do have that side of you where you use that kind of smoke screen. Everything's fine when it's not.
Yeah, I mean, she's pulling those happy performances from something.
Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly. That was probably, I just wanted to see a bit more. But then what kind of really took me out was the, when I looked at the footage, oh my God.
The footage
of Judy in London.
Yeah.
Getting married to her husband, the guy that came over.
Yeah.
And that really was devastating to me, because when I saw Judy singing on stage, the real Judy I'm talking about, I mean, she just looked awful.
Yeah, she did.
She looked about 60, and she was actually 46.
Yeah, she was like
Edith Piaf. She had that.
She was like bone.
She was like literally so frail, and it really upset me. Actually, I thought, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, that stark reality when you see the actual footage.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that really struck me. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to speak to the guys about this. This is so sad.
And that's like a level of deterioration that you see, not so much in celebrities now. It's more like what you would see like out on the street by somebody who's like hit hard times.
Yeah.
And that's what you see when you see her on stage like that. You see somebody who's experiencing really hard times, and they don't let celebrities look like that anymore. I mean, they just don't.
So when are we going to have Madonna around for tea? Like those guys had Judy.
Oh my God. I'm not being funny, but when I saw those guys, I thought of you. Only because, like, you know what I mean. But it was so sweet. It was such. That is what I missed in the young days of Judy in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of light relief of her going to that guy's. Like, they should have had more of that, just a little bit. Just a
little bit.
Yeah, because it was so.
Yeah,
and it was hard.
And you can just see that connection of how much it meant to the community.
Yeah, of course.
To how much Judy meant, and how, I mean, it's been accredited that her death and the sorrow of her death launched the Stonewall riots and all of that, because they were mourning the day. It was the day after she had died that Stonewall happened.
My goodness,
and, the community was mourning the loss.
Wow.
And so it was just like, we're sick of the police trying to get get us and this and that, and so that.
Wow, that's so interesting. I didn't know that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were great scenes, really good scenes to see her not thinking and just being in the moment,
right.
you know, rather than, you know, but looking at her as the reality of her at 46, and then it just makes you think of the people. It made me think in the wider context of the people around these celebrities.
Right.
You know, so she was literally a drug addict, like on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of performances in London and physical conditions, let's talk about Madame X. Rick and I have already talked about it a bit in the podcast. So what are your overall impressions first of the Madame X tour?
I mean, I was blown away. I mean, she is a great performer, a consummate performer. I know that she was like unwell. She'd had an injury, and I respected the fact that she came out and just said, listen, you know, I've had an injury, so it's either going to be a short show
or
you're not going to have no show at all. Right. And it was just great to kind of see her personality on stage. I've never seen Madonna before, so for me it was fantastic because I did love her back in the day. She was like everything to me. I mean, tailed off a little bit, but I mean, it was just amazing, and singing Like a Prayer at the top of my voice was amazing. I loved it. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. Overall, it was a great night. It's absolutely amazing, and just that feeling of like being in a room where everybody kind of, you know, is focused and positive. It was amazing.
It's palpable. It's like it's feeling. You can actually feel it in the air,
definitely.
like the enthusiasm.
I love going to places like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it was I think it's like a really good Madonna experience because. I think she goes out of her way to make herself seem like just a person. And I mean, like, she talks, she like,
that's what I
leans
loved.
back on the piano.
I know. I mean, that's what I loved. She was very communicative with the audience, and she was like telling people in the audience, shut that door at the back. This song goes out to the two people that got up and walked out just then. And she's really funny. And yeah, she seems really like a really sweet personality. She's very sassy, which is really good. And the performances were amazing, and the concepts. You know, I relate to a lot of them. Like the Lourdes one was amazing when her daughter was dancing. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Amazing.
And people don't really talk about that very much. And I'm surprised that more people haven't really mentioned it. But it was...
We're online or something.
Well, I think part of it was keep the secret.
Oh, right.
The secret, don't spoil the surprise. Because they do kind of play up that surprise a little bit. And she parts her hair.
Yeah, it's deliberate, for sure. It's deliberate.
So maybe that could be potentially part of why...
I think you're right.
Fans have been behaving.
Yeah, because a lot of people, when I was walking down the stairs, I could hear them say, "Oh, the Lourdes part section was amazing." That's what I heard a lot. Yeah, people loved it.
It is really emotional.
It is. It's so emotional. The way that she's completely changed the concept of that song. Rather than I love her, it's about kind of letting your daughter go. Oh God, I want to cry. It was so sweet. Honestly, it was such a good part of the show. And seeing it twice, I just feel so lucky.
Honestly. Did you see anything the second time around that you didn't see the first? That you didn't notice?
The stairs. You know, like when the stairs were moving.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was like a magnet or something underneath.
Yeah. So did I the first time.
And then actually being on the top tier, I could actually see the guys. But how do they do it without seeing? I don't.
And without seeing
that's its own kind of choreography.
So choreographed. And don't run Madonna over with
and then she's like got her head back and just like looking like she's relaxed. When you've got some geezer like I'd be like, don't do this and move it.
Oh, it looks like she's gonna get pinned in and she's walking backwards.
I'm like, okay, this is great. You know, the choreography was amazing. And I like that breathe bit. You know, when they've got the
rescue me,
rescue, Oh my gosh, that is so good.
Yeah.
It's mesmerizing. It's mesmerizing. Tell me, what are your favorite bits?
Okay. The first part that comes to mind is the orchestra, like the circle of women. Like, I really like that. that's when the energy of Madonna's performance and their music sort of overtakes the room, and you're kind of like brought into it.
What are they called? The boutique? Is it
the Batuka?
Batuka?
Yeah.
Batuka Opera Orchestra.
Yeah, I think that's the name of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's an orchestra.
Yeah.
And the spectacle of it all at the beginning really takes you in. The familiarity of Vogue takes you in.
Yeah.
But then it starts to take on that other kind of like quality when they come out, and you realize that you're just in the presence of like these musicians and these singers, and you're a part of it. I mean, you're not performing in the same way, but if you were like on that island, you would be experiencing like a version of that kind of music, and we're in this theater experiencing a version of this kind of music, and that for me was like a highlight. And I like the way it all culminates into like a prayer, and yeah, I really like that part.
Yeah, that's amazing at the end.
And then the I Rise ending the show like that. And
yes,
like leaving it. Those are like the three highlights for me. I mean, I love the Madonna spectacle, don't get me wrong. But when it starts hitting those points towards the end, it's like, okay, this is where it pays off.
What about you?
I mean, I like the whole thing. I like seeing Madonna's moods.
Yeah.
Depending on the night. Because you get something different every time.
Yes, yeah.
And I love seeing her really bitchy and pissy at that curtain. The damn iron curtain. Like, the last time we saw it together, she kept looking at it and, you know, like, get off my lawn, kind of like, damn you, iron curtain. Yeah. It wasn't as pissed off as she was the first time we saw it together, where she was like, those really, bastards did this.
Right.
It was a little more playful. This last time that we saw it, it was like she was saying bye to a friend that it was an enemy as well. Yeah. This damn iron curtain. She was like, this is where it comes down, this line, like, you know, I'm gonna stand right here, and like, all of it, the personality of Madonna that came through so well in the whole show, just, I loved. And you have to see the first parts that you missed, because it has a big personality.
It kind of introduces her, presenting her personality when she's changing clothes behind this mirror that you can't see her face. But, I mean, it's a reason to watch the DVD. And there are a lot of people, Alan Cumming, for example, didn't get to see the full version of the show.
All of that. And I also loved, I love the energy of Like a Prayer, but I liked that the Batuka Orchestra had that energy with their song, and Come Alive had that same energy. It was like we were going to church. And whenever Come Alive starts, and the dancers, when she's dancing like that, and they have that African style dance where it makes your body just kind of like, your body's moving with the music, you can't control it, and it's just kind of like, it's going through your body and down, out your fingertips. And I love all of that, and all of the imagery. I think it was just done really well. The sets were really perfect. I don't even know how they turned those stairs into that Fado Club, because
I really like the Fado Club.
It was so good. I was just
going to say that's my favorite part, the Fado Club.
When she's on that piano joking, like, I'm like,
I wanted to have a club that we could go to.
I want to go to that damn club.
Oh, so it's for real?
No, but I want you to.
I was going to say, let's go.
Yeah.
No, that was so good for me. That was one of my favourite parts. I can hear it now, like the Fado Club and the music and the fans and the dancing.
And the last time we saw it, I started noticing more things.
Yeah, that's
around.
True.
I started noticing, and I don't think we talked about this, but I started noticing the dancers, how they were interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, they were telling a story as well. Like, when the guy with the flare, coming down his leg, came down the stairs, and he was, like, talking to the girls. Or there was one part where he was in a room on the top right half. Yeah. And there's a lamp in there, and it's like, he's just fanning himself. Like, there was more that you don't get a chance to really take in
because you're watching her.
Madonna, like, I kind of like averted my eyes a little bit when she was down in the piano to see what else was going on.
Right.
And you start seeing that it's a full story, but you're so magnetized by Madonna that you don't even look. But if you do look, it's not like they wasted the story and trying to do something more.
Yeah,
it's just so. I didn't notice it before, and I'm excited to see it in the DVD to really pay attention.
So when will the DVD come out then?
Well, it can take forever.
Really?
It can take like a year maybe.
Oh,
I want that album because usually she releases a DVD and an album. Mm-hmm. The music and the remixes of the songs were so good.
Yeah.
That I've been listening to the album just these last few days over and over.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of the way the songs were portrayed. Like, I liked when the detectives had her.
Oh, yeah.
I like
that song. Troy was playing the remixes the other day, and just
I Don't Search, I
Find. Yeah. It's so good when they're manhandling her.
Yeah, when they're taking pictures.
And then, like, the light is going, and they're typing to the beat.
Yes, yes,
all of it is so precise. And I'm just like, Troy, it's so good. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's so good. So we're just enjoying all of that. It's so good.
So you're fulfilled. You're fulfilled after seeing her this time. Because you guys see her a lot, don't you?
We saw her 4 times this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But normally it's like...
I guess...
But you've had a long career of kind of seeing Madonna. You know, like what you were telling me. So you know
we've seen
when
most
it's a good
of her
show.
tours. And
that's amazing.
Well, I've seen from Confessions on.
Yeah.
I've seen Reinvention and Drowned World. And,
but you didn't see... You saw her Drowned World.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's when she really like switched into like a new kind of format for her shows. And, yeah. Ray of Light and all of that live for the first time.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
It was like really amazing.
Because that was when I was peaking to really like her.
Yeah.
Did you see Justify My Love then? The Sex album.
Oh, Girly Show. No, I was too young to go and see that. Yeah.
Okay.
But
oh wow, how interesting. So in comparison then to the shows that you've seen before,
right?
Where does the London Palladium show?
To me, even though I haven't seen it live, to me it seems more like a girly show, like a more of the theatrical, like a smaller scale.
Yeah.
But I didn't like Girly Show.
Girly shows, well, you know. What's interesting,
was a Down Under, right?
She incorporated a clown into the Girly Show, kind of like that French mime kind of clown.
Oh, yeah.
And she had named that Tears of a Clown as an inspiration for this one. So maybe it is kind of like connected to the Girly Show.
Interesting.
Because she did like that clown performance kind of for charity, I think it was.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago.
Down Under in Australia.
Yeah. So to me, it seems kind of like that.
But if you had to rank the tours that you've seen, where would
Madam X? Where would she? Or is it sacrilege to do that? Or?
No, I mean it shouldn't be sacrilege.
Okay, let's be sacrilegious.
I think it would be above Rebel Heart, but maybe below Confessions.
Yeah, well, for me, Confessions is my number 1.
You see,
but I'm biased a little bit because it was my first.
Oh, that's probably.
And it set the bar so high, but I think Confessions is my number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of a struggle between Madam X and MDNA because we were in the triangle, the Golden Triangle, and that was so biased.
But you know...
yeah, because you were right up close to her, basically.
I don't remember as many details about MDNA because I never watched the video very much. But after Drowned World, seeing that live, when I had the DVD, it would be like on repeat while I was doing things around the studio and stuff. Like,
so it keeps that memory alive.
Yeah. And I mean, Rebel Heart either. I haven't watched the video for that.
Some of the edits we weren't very crazy about, but we haven't really seen the last tour and how it was edited because Confessions is so well edited Even the tour video of it is so perfect.
Yeah.
And I mean, seeing it live, I only saw it once. Troy did multiple times, but it's so good.
And I think for me, like, Madame X and Drowned World would be, like, almost neck and neck.
Okay.
Because it's, like, her starting something new. Madame X was, like, a new thing for her. Drowned World was, like, her electronica start. So she was starting something new. And it was, like, it felt kind of like an early form of something that's going to grow into something more later. I mean, I hope she does more theater stuff.
I hope she does.
The best thing was no phones.
Yeah, and the fact that there was no phone.
The best thing, because the tours are a little bit stressful because of that.
Yeah, because people are looking.
Because I mean, I do want to get some Madonna pictures.
Me too.
And some videos, and we've gotten them. Now I don't need it anymore.
You've shown me plenty. I've seen a lot more just through the pictures.
I've seen the slow-mo ones. We've gotten her on slow-mo and like all of this.
Yeah.
All of the modes.
You've seen everything basically.
So, I mean, at this point, I love that she said no phones, and I hope she does more of this type.
And I don't know if like the Batuka Orchestra would have the same impact if we were in an arena. I think you almost have to be in a theater setting that it's like, no, it needs a bit of elevation. That it deserves like some kind of elevation, so that way you can be absorbed into it and it doesn't get lost in like a metal
otherwise
structure.
They become like mindless props.
No, but I think
a giant stage.
Yeah, and I think it was important, and I felt so lucky to see Madonna in such a small venue because my sister-in-law, she went to see her in Covent Garden and some big thousands of people. And it was just really nice to be in that small setting, right? And for Madonna to speak and sit down and talk to the audience. Yeah, you do see her. Yeah, I think she's got a cute face, and it was really good to see her kind of really relate to the crowd and take her time and because I've seen concerts in video and and they do look amazing, the ones that I know you two have been. But what a different experience, just like sitting there so close to her, and she was personal, and then she was very sassy about things. Yeah. It was so funny.
I mean, I get the impression sometimes that her normal concert stage is almost the size of a city block. Yeah. I mean, it can go so far back and take up so much space.
Yeah, and then this was like, and this is
But the thing with Madonna shows, and she's the best performer I've ever seen, that there's a story regardless. And Madame X had a story just like Confessions, and she always tries to have a story, and there's so many changes and sets and all of that, and the spectacle. Like I think if you go to some concerts, I don't know if I'd be like, if I went to see Justin Timberlake, he's not gonna do, I can't imagine him really impressing me as much as Madonna does. Or even like, I mean, I love Christina Aguilera, but I didn't really have any desire to go see her because I don't really know what, does she change?
Have you ever been to one? I've never ever.
No, or I mean, I've seen Katy Perry, but in Coco, before she was big, or in like one of those like festivals way before she was big. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, I've seen
shows
like
now.
No.
Yeah.
We go and see shows. We saw Cher and it was really good.
We saw Cher and it was really, Cher was good. And like Pink was good.
Pink was good. And I've seen small acts like Portishead and Air and stuff.
Oh my God. I've seen Portishead.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, at a festival there. It wasn't like, that was so
This was in an Austin club. It was like,
It's a little different because we saw Bjork.
We saw Bjork and Bjork is totally
she was really
engrossing.
good.
Was she?
But
I would love to see Bjork.
But there wasn't.
But there's no comparison to
there's no spectacle.
Bjork with Bjork, I felt like when the storyteller gathers you around the campfire and they're acting out this narrative that draws you in. Bjork is that kind of performer where, like, she's not going to do a Broadway thing, but she's going to
song speak.
It's more like Primal or something with Bjork.
Oh, I'd love to see her as well. Especially back in the day. That must have been amazing to see her.
It was like just a few years ago at the Opera House.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw her here at the Apollo. At the Apollo, yeah.
Did you?
And before that, we've seen her in a festival, and I don't like festivals.
Oh, okay.
And a thunderstorm came, and she got mad that they were shutting her down, even though it was thundering and everything.
Well,
she's like,
had
from
a
Iceland.
machine on stage, crazy bitch.
She's like,
from
in Iceland,
so
we wouldn't shut down the concert because it was thunder and the lightning.
But then we were like, oh, we're glad we made it into it was in Chicago, and we were just like, we made it into the metro before.
Also, it was really
just barely like seconds, and it was just like coming down.
Mm-mm.
So that would have been, but they did cut her short, and she was just like, she's very brief when she talks. She's just like, thank you, and like, she doesn't
get up and talk a lot.
Does not say things very much, but she's really like what you would think.
Yeah, she knows English though, doesn't she?
Yeah.
English, Yeah, Madam X was fantastic. It really was such a good night, and I'm so happy to have seen her, because you just never know, do you? Like if she'll be out again, because she was obviously in pain, and she had people strategically there to help her.
The dancers were
and she was
there.
saying, "Get me a chair and stuff. I need a chair to sit down," But she did well, considering she was in so much pain.
She blended it in well into the show.
Yeah. She did. But you did feel, I winced a little bit compared to the first time we saw her, and then the second time she seemed better, or her body was used to the
she was giving herself some recovery time.
Yeah, or she got into the schedule.
Yeah, or she had some hardcore steroid shots. Or something to keep her going, because her body seemed more like into it.
Right.
The first time I saw it, you could just slightly wince in.
Yeah, I could see
like that.
Hard
to watch. Yeah. Slightly hard to watch, but she was still amazing. Regardless.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you could come and see it with us.
So am I.
Some really good nights.
It was amazing.
And also, speaking of, got to see a presentation today that you did for Jane, our MA course leader, her current class.
Yes, yeah.
So tell us how it came about, and what did you want to talk about? Like, what was your agenda for the presentation?
So, it's funny, because remember we were talking about that Fashion Critical Studies talk at LCF?
Right.
And that's where I saw Jane when I was with you. Do you remember?
I remember that.
And she was like, "Oh, what have you been up to?" And I was telling her, "Oh, actually, a magazine's just come out that I've done." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And I was telling her all about it, like that I'm assistant editor of Editions Lifestyle magazine. And I said, like, in a couple of days, there's going to be a launch at the Design Museum.
Right.
And, I was explaining all that, and she was like, "Oh, great. And I said also, I'm going to Condé Nast the week after with my cousin who started up Coding Black Females. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, will you come in and do a talk about it?" She just asked me out, just straight there.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay. So, yeah. And then, she got in touch just after Christmas, and she said, "What day is good for you?" And, I was like, the 19th, and she said, "Yeah, fine, great, I'll book you in." So
did she make any suggestions beyond that first conversation about what to discuss? Or?
No, nothing.
Okay. So how did you formulate it? Like, what did you want to do with it?
I mean, I looked at first, I was like, "Oh God, what am I going to say?" But then I felt like, this freedom, I can tell people what I want,
Right.
That's how I kind of looked at it, as a positive. And I decided to kind of look at, like, my education. And she did say, maybe say what you do day to day with the magazine, what you like about the work you're doing now and how you got into it.
Right.
That was were the pointers. And and I just decided to, I don't even know how long I was talking for. Like about an hour and a half.
About an hour and a half. Yeah, it went by really fast.
It did, because I was thinking, "Oh God, maybe I'm talking too fast." But and then I formed it together. I wrote it down first in notes, and then I put the slides together with the images, and it was the images that helped me kind of put the words to it.
Right.
Rather than doing words and then the images. It seemed to me that it worked, that I put the images first. Once they were there, it made sense.
You work a lot with images.
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah.
So is that the way you normally start? Is accumulating images and then you find the words for it?
Definitely, yeah. Especially with Georgian diaspora and stuff like that.
Right.
So the image speaks to me first, and then I'll fill in the rest.
Right.
Yeah, that's how it works for me. I mean, you tell me, how did my presentation go?
Well, I think it went really well. And one of the things that struck me right off the bat is that you were talking during that presentation exactly like you're talking now.
Oh, really?
You weren't presenting like you were presenting. You were presenting it like you were talking about like it was a conversation.
Oh, good.
And then, but what you were talking about was to me, like the major thing was networking, but how what you've done in the past few years shaped what you wanted to get out of networking and how you were going to approach it. And to me, that was like super relevant to those students that were sitting in that room. And I mean, even like just not being one of those students, it was informative for me because you've done such a good job of networking since you finished the program that, and in a way that I haven't even attempted, but you make it seem more approachable by breaking it down into things like the idea of farming rather than hunting, the idea of preparation. And, you know, you articulated throughout that hour and a half what he kind of summarized in the TED Talk at the end about the 3 bones. What was it? Wish, jaw, and back. The 3 bones. Yeah. So you had already like illustrated all of that, and then he came through as like a summary point.
Oh, good. I'm glad. So it was good. I'm glad you said that. Thanks, Troy. Yeah, I felt like it wasn't like usually when I remember doing my MA presentation and I was really nervous.
Right.
I can't even remember speaking.
Oh, you don't remember?
Blind time in my life. I don't know. I was like stressed out, but I have to admit, I was almost, when I was getting ready this morning, I was almost thinking, am I nervous? So, and I wasn't, and I was almost questioning why, but no.
Yeah, no, it came across very natural.
Good.
What kind of questions did you get?
See, there was a question I knew was coming, cultural appropriation. Mm-hmm. One of the students asked me, what do you think about cultural appropriation? And I said, and I did say to her, I knew this question was coming. And I think that, and I answered by saying it's about a foundation for me. That's why I do this work, because it's like with history, then people have the knowledge rather than ignorantly taking stuff
right
and using it. But once you've got the knowledge, you know, a plethora of knowledge out there, then it will make sense. And it's hard to kind of just focus on, you know, what people think is wrong. You've got to kind of give it context. Everything has to have context, whether it's fashion or whatever,
right.
because we see it all the time.
Right.
And it's going to happen. It's going to keep happening, but so we have to open up, like, the history of it, the context, what its meaning is and where it's from, so that becomes general knowledge.
That's all you can do. I mean, because I don't think you can really create without appropriating.
Yeah, of course.
But are you appropriating to suppress, or are you appropriating, you know, with something like a higher consciousness about it?
Exactly. Or you're appropriating out of pure ignorance, because, okay, it's nice, but why is it nice? Where does it come from?
Right.
You know, there are so many examples, but I do believe you can't just, like, police everything.
No. And they were asking about, like, how do you start having that conversation? I don't think you can ever have a formal conversation because appropriation is going to come about through different ways. All you can have is, like, all you can hope for is an uprising against it and a correction. Kind of like what we saw with Gucci.
Yes.
It's like...
Yes, yeah.
And I mean... Maybe we'll have to do it less in some areas, but again, I don't think you ever have like just overall 100% improvement.
Yes, yeah,
and
I don't believe that.
As long as you can articulate your resistance against something just being appropriated and removed from context.
Exactly.
You can voice it and it can be acted on. I think that's what the conversation is.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Is where you make space for people to have this conversation, just like what we're doing right now. I think that's important.
Because we don't know all the ways that we're appropriating right now. We just don't. But if somebody were to draw my attention to like the heritage of holes in the jeans or like white tennis shoes or whatever,
exactly.
It's like, fine, I'm totally open to understanding how I've been appropriating.
That's the key, is that you're open to it. And I'm incredibly aware that anything I might wear or put on, or that of course somebody else has done it in the past.
Right.
See, I don't know whether that's my instinct, because I've told you before, I feel like I may have been here before in another life or whatever.
Right.
You know, I have those kind of tendencies. So I don't know whether it's that, But I do think there has to be a consciousness. Like you say, you're open to know that, maybe those genes came from a certain person back in the day because they did.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You should assume that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make something without consuming something.
Exactly.
So it's like and it's hard to even the most conscientious person to be aware of everything that they've consumed. And the origins of it all. And at best, they're ignorant, but hopefully it's not the worst case scenario where they're willfully oppressive. But, who knows?
Yeah. That's so true. I wish you'd ask me a question in the presentation.
That was one thing I wasn't crazy about. Is I couldn't see a lot of the people who were like sitting because of the way the table was lined up.
Yeah,
so,
they were quite far away,
Oh, okay.
And I could only see Jane and the person next to me. So
I know,
it was hard.
Jane was like, "Can you speak up?" So that's something I'll try and improve on next time.
As much as you can. I mean, because your laptop had to be connected to the screen.
Yes, it was a bit awkward in that room, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I've done it.
Yeah. Would you do it more in the future?
Yeah, I would actually. Just to test myself, see how I would get better at it.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
And it was so interesting because, I did ask them, one of the questions, I told them about my background in Black history, how my mum taught me Black history as a kid, and what I was taught at school. And I said, can anyone tell me what they were taught at school in Black history? And most of them just said, no, we didn't get taught anything.
They were taught about some civil rights in the States.
Three of them said in the States that they chose the module to learn about civil rights. And one girl said, she just learned about civil rights and American Black history, just civil rights. And that was a room of what, 10 people?
About 10 people.
So and I find that interesting as a
people who are pursuing a master's degree, meaning that they have a level of education that even the general public may not have. And and CSM is not the easiest school to get into. And even within that group of 10 people, only 2 or 3 of them had any kind of formal education on Black history.
And it's crazy. And I said this, my mum said the same thing when she was at school, when she came to the British school. I'm saying the same thing. And then these people are saying the same. It's like this constant cycle. But it was interesting for me to hear that because then there's something maybe I could do with that information.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's what mainly
That's exciting.
It is actually.
So that's the main part that came out.
For me, I'm thinking, because the ratio is there, do you know what I mean? Out of 10, only 2 people chose to actually speak about it. Another one feels inadequate.
And even then, the things people know or think they know are so just hovering on the top.
Right.
Yes.
It's so deep. It can go so deep. And, everybody knows Martin Luther King. Or, you would hope. But civil rights and those things, there's so much underneath that.
Much more.
That just, you have to find ways to get it to people or make it so that they can't ignore it.
Yeah, that's
Even
so true.
You're going to have to do extra work to skip it because I'm going to put it in everything that you see.
Well, this is what I was saying to Troy when we were sitting in the canteen just a bit ago. And I was saying that maybe, maybe this course needs to be more radical when it comes to Black studies then. And just do a module, which is really kind of radical where we just teach them this and they say, you have to know this because not many people do. I don't know. Would that be a value to them? Because I asked them as well, do you want to know about Black history or Black fashion history? And they said yes. I don't know if they were being kind.
No, I don't think they were just saying that out of kindness. Because when you put the books up there, this is why you want to know more about, Black history and the culture, because it comes out in so many ways that you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
That, it's relevant in ways that are, so often invisible.
But do people have the attention capacity nowadays?
In the MA program,
to read
they
a
would.
book?
And in the MA program, you require them to, or they don't pass the course.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is do radical where they're forced to actually go through the module and do that lesson.
Well, that's the thing. People need to be force-fed it a bit.
Fashion. If it's about the body at all, you can't ignore ethnicity. And
but the thing is, but I've thought about this. I've thought about this, and what happens is when it comes to the crunch, then the people, the canon. Well, what do you take out of the canon? Do you take out Boudreaux for, I don't know, Carol Tulloch or one of the books out? Do you know what I mean? That's the argument that you would come up to. So
I don't know. I think that ethnicity plays almost a role in every single part that we went through. I mean, sport and uniform and gesture. And I mean,
body modification. Oh, yes, you're so right.
And I mean, if it's not, I mean, first of all, I know we're getting long on time. It's been about 52 minutes. We should wrap this up. Okay. But I think there's definitely room to explore and understand ethnicity in relation to all of those things. And because they were referencing American Black history. Not even the British one. And I've heard some stories in the past couple of years and learning about Black history in Britain. That I can't believe that they're not being taught this. Where is it? And I mean, how can you not connect dandyism with, gesture? And you know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
And you can't wait for it to be dramatized in a Hollywood movie to find out about it, because there's too many stories. Like the woman, they did a movie of, she was adopted and she was in those paintings.
Oh yeah, Belle. Yeah, Dido Belle. Yeah.
I never knew about her until I saw the movie. Yeah. And how many stories like that was an independent small movie that not many people are going to see. Yeah. So you can't even rely on that part. Anyways, that people will either, be curious enough to find out more about them.
It's education. That's where it has to be. But it is such a huge kind of, institution to kind of change. But,
And you have the history months. You have Black History Month. More needs to be done during that month. Or even Pride Month, where all of these new bus stops that have these big screens. Well, we need to work with the London transport people so that some of those show figures or, none of that happens.
Yeah, I always think about that though. I always think about the money and the infrastructure that goes into other months and not put into Black History Month. So it makes you think there is a active... There's someone trying to blanket it. They're trying to keep it small.
Is enough being done during those months anyways?
No, I don't think so.
So, addressing that gap.
Yes.
Get to work, Serena.
I'm trying.
It's all on you.
I'm trying.
Basically.
Okay. So, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us.
Oh, so good. Thanks for asking me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Anytime.
It doesn't happen enough.
No, it doesn't actually. It's been a nice chat.
Okay. Well, everybody, until next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. We put it out weekly. And follow us on social media. We're on every platform. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.